Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube. It's your girl Honey. Welcome back people, welcome back, and those of you who are new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Honey and I am a British born astrologer. Yes, I am. So I do have a lot of videos here. Make sure you guys check them out. I really appreciate if you guys like, subscribe, share, comment. It really boosts my videos up and that can really help a girl out, you know, just to get my videos out there a bit more. Today we are talking a little bit about Capricorn moons. I am going to be making more, I'm going to be remaking a lot of my old videos because it's just time. A lot of them are just old and time to go, right? Those of you who don't know, I happen to be a Capricorn moon and it's going to come best coming from me because I know everything about this sign, this energy. So the moon is your emotional fulfillment, foundation, home, security, roots. It's your mother. It's the core to who you are, okay? And Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. Saturn is rules, regulations, restrictions, responsibilities, self-limitations, and fear. Now, Cancer is ruled by the moon. Cancer opposes Capricorn. Cancer is very emotional, expressive, sensitive. Cancer opposes Capricorn. Therefore, the opposition creates an opposite way of expressing itself, which essentially makes Capricorn very restrictive in its expression. Okay, when you're given a Capricorn moon, I have a Capricorn moon, my son has a Capricorn moon, we kind of see a mother, me, who had worked throughout their pregnancy until the end of time. You know, Capricorn is about setting yourself goals. I have to reach these goals. I've got to perform. I've got to be successful. Your mum has a lot of responsibilities on her back, and a lot of that can be passed on to you. Hence why you've been given a Capricorn moon. You know, when my mum had me, she worked until I think the week before she gave birth. And even for myself, I worked about 3 days before, 2 or 3 days before I gave birth, and went back to work 3 days after. And the thing is, and I work from home, by the way, okay? And the thing is, when it comes to Capricorn moons, when we sit on our ass and we do nothing, we don't feel fulfilled. Think of the moon as the emotional fulfillment. What makes you feel fulfilled in your moon's placement? So when you are given a Capricorn moon, again, Capricorn being success, and let's also remember, the moon links us to depression. And our Mars placement is how we get out of depression, right? But the moon shows us how we are depressed. Now, if you're trying to avoid being low, and let's be real, Capricorn moon is very much a placement that contributes to having very low emotional moods, you know, being very, very low. And to avoid all of this, you must set yourself goals. I cannot stress how important it is that we set ourselves goals. As a Capricorn moon, if I have nothing going for me, and where I experienced my most depressive stages in my life, I wasn't working. You know, I felt like I had no purpose. I wasn't working. I had no job. I didn't have money coming in. Capricorn moons need to have something to work for, to work towards. Now look at the placement of your Mars. So for example, if you've got Mars in Pisces, you know, Pisces is an energy that is very slow when it sits in Mars. But it can also lose a lot of motivation, which is kind of counterproductive, you know, when you've got Capricorn energy. The best thing that this person can do is, if they have a lot of goals to adhere to, they need to learn to schedule in self-care and rest. You know, Pisces loses a lot of motivation because it likes to focus on the inner self. And that can be finding peace. And peace can be in terms of sleeping. It can be in terms of eating. But Pisces Mars can essentially be quite lazy. But the combination of Pisces with the Capricorn, if this person wants to set themselves goals, they need to set aside a time to rest in order for them to be able to achieve these goals. Now, Capricorn moons are notorious for being known as not having emotions or being very cold. And I can't even lie, I've been called emotionless and cold, you know, by other people. It doesn't mean that we don't have feelings and we're not vulnerable people. We are. It's just on the external side to how people view us is that we don't have that. And what happens is, because this is Saturn energy, Saturn is restrictions, blockages, limitations, you know, when we are triggered emotionally, we go inwards, if that makes sense. We're not very good at being expressive, with how we feel towards people and being vulnerable, because it just feels like a burden. And this tends to come from a childhood trauma, essentially, that becomes learned behavior over time, where we learn to just keep our emotions, in. It can also be fear induced as well, being afraid of being a burden, or being rejected when we are being emotionally vulnerable. And also, let's not forget, this is controlling energy. This is Capricorn energy, Saturn energy, and we don't like losing control of ourselves and displaying emotional ups and downs. Like how people are on social media when they're just writing Facebook and Twitter posts about, oh my God, I had such an emotional day today, I cried all day. That's not what Capricorn Moons like to display that we do, especially if it's from a serious perspective of being vulnerable online. We don't like to do that at all. And let's talk about why Capricorn Moons deal with a lot of these issues with their emotions, right? Growing up, you may have not felt validated in being emotionally expressive, especially if you're like me, who has Neptune conjunct her moon, right? Now, my generation, which is late 80s, early 90s, we all had the Saturn, Neptune and Uranus all in the sign of Capricorn. So those people I'm talking to right now, who are likely to have their moon conjunct either of those planets. I have my moon conjunct Neptune and Uranus, and the Saturn is on its way, out of Capricorn. But anyway, in terms of Neptune is a very confusing planet, and it's a generational planet. Therefore, a lot of people around us, their Neptune will also be conjunct our moon in synastry. And what happens is Neptune creates a lot of confusions, illusion, disillusionment, but it also, in your childhood, can represent feeling very misunderstood emotionally. People not being sure how to nurture you, what it is that you need to have for you to feel fulfilled. Based on what you went through as a child, your mother giving you more information or not allowing you to have the boundaries that you deserve to have. Boundaries tend to be crossed whenever Neptune tends to be involved with the moon. So lack of boundaries at home, a lack of boundaries in terms of protecting your own emotions, wanting to feel safe and not really feeling safe because you're sharing or oversharing, or, people not understanding how to receive when you are sharing. So Neptune just creates this confusion of how to handle your emotions or how other people should handle your emotions. So you are going to feel very isolated as a Capricorn moon as you grow up as an adult. Neptune softens the expression of the moon. And Neptune tends to make you feel just really sensitive as a child growing up. And Neptune also eradicates boundaries. So you would have noticed over the years, a lot of people project a lot of their emotions, their burdens onto you. In terms of Uranus is surprise, upheaval, unexpected events, unorthodox, etc. When Uranus is conjunct your Capricorn moon, Uranus isn't as, I don't feel like Uranus is very friendly. There's a lot of inconsistencies happening at home. You might also have felt like you've moved around a lot in your childhood. In my situation, for me personally, my family was very unconventional. I was raised as a Rastafarian. My dad has lots of kids. I've got lots of siblings everywhere. And having a Capricorn moon, especially as you grow older, you're learning to manage the unconventional family structure. Capricorn desires more structure for it to feel a lot more stable. In terms of Saturn, this is why I find people have more of a challenging home environment when Saturn's conjunct your moon, especially if you have your moon in Capricorn. And we do associate Saturn to be very depressive when he is conjunct the moon. Saturn being restrictive, blockages, limitations. This person really struggles to emotionally express and be vulnerable and to have very close relationships with people because there is that need to restrict that sense of vulnerability. Although we are looking at things emotionally from a logical perspective of what makes sense, how can we apply ourselves to fix, we're not allowing ourselves to really process the feels. And that's the Cancer energy. Cancer allows yourself to feel and process things, whereas Saturn, Capricorn energy, I want to control. The moon being in Capricorn, growing up, we weren't always validated with our emotions. And when we're not able to fulfill ourselves, we get into a mood, we get very upset, and we get very emotional. But we don't express our emotions very easily. It never happens. And the reason why is because growing up, we may have been told, you're a big girl now, don't cry, or go to your room. And we weren't always cuddled and held. You know, unless you got a fourth house Capricorn moon, that might be a bit different for you. But we weren't always held. We weren't always told that it's going to be okay. Mummy loves you. You may not have experienced a very sensitive mum, you know, who was very emotionally available and nurturing. And you may have also, oh my gosh, you may have also been that child who was made to know about things happening in the home. You know, for me personally, because my moon sits in my 8th house and I've got aspects for my 2nd house as well, finances I was always aware of, and I should never have been aware of it. So for me, if there was financial problems, although my mum has 2 other kids, I always knew what was going on, even though I couldn't do anything about it. But as a Capricorn moon, you're like, you know what, if I can help, I will. I remember being like, you know, 6 years old, and I'm a good drawer. I can paint really well. So I draw paintings, and if my mum's friends came to the house, I'd ask them to buy it. You know, like any little piece of coin here, pound here, might help my mum to feel better financially. That's what I'm thinking about, is financially, how can I support my parent? How can I support my home more? And as a Capricorn moon, you shouldn't be thinking like that. But because you're made to be aware and to grow up earlier as a child, you're thinking these ways, which is stupid, but that was us. If you're wondering what it means for you with your house placement for where your Capricorn moon sits in, please leave a comment below and I'm happy to answer that question for you, because the house placement depends on what you are responsible for. So I'm an 8th house moon, so in terms of money, finances, I tend to feel responsible for that with a sense of guilt. You know, if we have a 5th house Capricorn moon, there might be need to be responsible of someone else's children. You might feel restricted in your creativity. You know, if you have a 3rd house Capricorn moon, it might be responsibility of your siblings or your cousins. You know, the house placement shows us where exactly you are feeling responsible. And I remember when I was 8 years old, right, I lived right next to a horse stables. And the horse stables, this lady who owned it, she had lots of different horses, but she would hire children to help out every so often, you know, clean some poop here or there, groom the horses or whatever. And I went over there and I said to her, hey, you know, can I work here? She said, yeah, sure you can. And she'd give me like £8, £10 on a Saturday. And I came home to my mum and said to my mum, I got a job. And I was telling her what it was, and she said, oh, you shouldn't be doing that. And it really annoyed me, because you're complaining to me, little old me, about issues in the home. I'm giving you a solution as a Capricorn moon, solution based, right? To fix the problem or to help the problem. But it's on my back. I feel like it's on my back. It's a burden. So your mum can become a burden as a Capricorn moon. And that's where we get this whole feeling of, I don't like to express my emotions, because towards other people, my emotions can very easily become a burden. So we will restrict how we feel all the time to our friends. And you see, the sad thing about the energy is that it can make us feel depressed because we're unable to release and express how we're truly feeling. And that makes us feel very alone. And we get angry, we get frustrated because we can't let this out to anybody. And that's why your moon becomes depressive, because you can't release the energy. Now also as well, being a Capricorn moon, you have a lot of responsibilities in your childhood. And it's mad because you take them on. You know, if you were like a Leo moon or a Gemini moon, you know, you'd be like, oh, I hate this, I hate doing that, oh, I hate it. But a Capricorn moon is, oh, wow, I'm seen as being an adult. I'm seen as being responsible. Wow, I've got this opportunity to do something. And I remember my responsibility, I had to look after my sister. Yes. And when you've got Mercury sextile or trining your moon, you're going to be a babysitter a lot growing up. all right? You're looked at as second parent sometimes. And what's interesting is I now have a Capricorn sun, and knowing what I went through as a Capricorn moon, I had a great childhood, by the way. I don't want him to feel responsible for wanting to hear and know about the things that go on in my household. So I'm very much aware, but I can only just try, you know, because when he's being given a Capricorn moon, he's going to have to be responsible. I don't know what for, probably housework, I think, because his moon's in his 4th house. But it all just, you know, depends. Like in a man's chart, Capricorn moon works better. I've had a lot of wives and girlfriends that have left comments on my old Capricorn moon videos saying, oh my god, I understand my husband so much better now, because she wondered why he was emotionless or so cold, or he wasn't a lot of fun, right? Capricorn is dry, a dry sense of humor. Not saying that they don't like fun, but they're very serious, okay? To date a Capricorn moon, you need to be ambitious, you have to have goals, and you need to be someone who's not just dreaming about, oh, I want to have this, I want to have that. You have to action these things, because Capricorns are all about the longevity, the journey, you know, the uphill battle. We cannot just date people who are just having fun for right here, right now. Everything is serious. So I feel like for men it's easier because it's kind of expected, you know, for men to thrive in their careers. But for women, as a Capricorn moon, there's more of a struggle, okay? Especially because people expect you to be very emotionally nurturing and very soft and expressive. And I always wondered, right, because my friend, her chart is exactly like mine. We just have different moons, that's it, right? Same suns, everything, rising, whatever. I always wondered why my friend is always seen as being more friendlier than I am, but I'm not the most friendliest person, particularly towards women. And I realized that, oh, the reason why I've got a Capricorn moon, I appear to be mean sometimes. Even though I'm not mean, I'm serious, right? And it was really interesting because the moon is also your relationship with women. If you've got a Capricorn moon, your relationship can just be a little bit distant. You might appear to be not so friendly or a little bit distant. Now, obviously I'm a lot older now, I'm aware of this, and I can now play up on the idea that I'm not going to be this mean, horrible, unapproachable person. When it comes to women, I compliment them, you know, I express how beautiful they look, and I make more of the effort to show that I'm not standoffish or mean, because I know how my moon can express itself. It's just not the most friendly. So it can express difficult relationships with women, you know, because you can't really, but you're not really the most vulnerable, emotionally expressive. And also, God, it's very hard as a Capricorn moon to have friends who are very emotionally up and down, who are going through this, going through that, because you're thinking it can be fixed like that, and you're out here just complaining about the same shit over and over again. You know, it's like having a really shit boyfriend, you know, and you being a Capricorn moon, advising your friend, look, you know, that your boyfriend's shit, move on, find someone else, you know, fix it or move on, or stop bitching to me about it, is what we find to be common expression or reaction, you know, as a Capricorn moon. We are solution-based people, so if there's a problem, let's fix it right now. Like, we're working on fixing the problem, okay? We don't like to run away from the issue. No, let me take that back. Capricorn moons can be cold in terms of, I'm gonna be cutthroat and cut you off. Similar to Aries moons in terms of just the cutting off like that. And I've cut off a lot of people over the years, but I've learned to kind of admit to when I'm being wrong, or, you know, apologize to people, or not have this pride that's preventing me from keeping friendships and relationships. So Capricorn is notorious for being cutthroat with people, or if they really, really care about you, you are given a lot of chances, okay, to fix or rectify your issues with them. We're also not very keen on physical touch, like hugging, right? I'm very big on hugging my boyfriend. I love hugging him. Like, he smells good. He's got big shoulders, big arms. Obviously, I'm comfortable with doing things like that. However, like with friends, because remember the moon is women, right? You can be very close to your friends, very, very close. but that physical touch, it may not be there, okay? So when my friends have cried or been upset, it's been really hard to touch them and console them. Oh, don't worry, you'll be fine. It's hard. And when people come to hug you, again, it's a weird feeling. You know, I hug my son, I hug my partner, but my friends, it's a difficult feeling. And Capricorn can be a bit awkward at times as well. Like, do I hug you? Do I kiss you on the cheek? Is it 2 kisses? You know, how long do I hug you for? Do I pat your back? There can be a lot of issues with things like that, you know, especially if Gemini's in the chart as well. But my point is, it's just very uncomfortable for us because, again, there's that distance to the emotions. In terms of our home as well, like as a Capricorn moon, don't overstay your welcome when you come to our house, yeah? Don't stay here all day. Don't expect to be fed all of the time or every time that you come here. You want to drink, you want to be fed. We're going to offer you. Do you want to drink? Do you want to be, are you hungry? I've got snacks. Capricorn moons like to do things proper, okay? So if we have people coming to our house, we'll go and do some food shopping. You know, we'll go and get some drinks. We'll have lovely glasses. We're very prideful of our homes as well. And when people come over, we want to make them feel comfortable, but knowing that this is not a house to fuck around in. Don't bring your kids around that are going to be running up and down, spilling drinks, putting their hands on my walls. Because as a Capricorn moon, our home is our sanctuary, but it's also a project for us. We take it seriously. Right? So when it comes to even parenting, our parenting style, we're not going to be strict, but we are stern parents. So an element of fear can be installed into your children because you're going to be a bit stern. So there will be more rules, regulations. We want to be organized. So my son, I created a routine for him, but my partner, who's a Sag moon, you know, can't stick to the routine properly, and that annoys us. That annoys me. Because we need to have structure and routine for us to feel, again, the whole fulfillment. Like, Capricorn moon is notorious for wanting to, I don't want to say escape, but it takes itself away from people. For example, if I'm going through a lot of emotions in that moment, I'm coming off social media. I'm taking myself off WhatsApp. I don't want people to ring my phone. Don't call me. Give me time to work things out. Now, as a Capricorn moon woman, you also got to look into fertility, okay? Now, I've made several fertility videos, which I will be linking below here in the pinned comments, okay? And I'll probably have them above the top of the screen here as well. Capricorn moon, because this is Saturn, right? Saturn is restrictions, and it likes to do things in order. So based on society says, yeah, you should get married first, you should buy a house first, you should travel first, and you should do this and do that before you choose to have children, okay? So that's why we see that Capricorn moons can be delayed when it does come to eventually having kids, because that's what Saturn and Capricorn essentially does. You want to look into fertility and not just the delayed side to things as well. Again, check out my videos for more confirmation on that. But Capricorn moon is just more focused on getting their career up and running before anything else. Now, because you have a very difficult moon, it's very important that you look at Cancer, okay, as an energy to learn from. Or even the Jupiter in Cancer generation. I've noticed that when I'm more vulnerable emotionally, I'm able to connect on a healthy level with other women, and I'm not seen as being this robot or seen as being too cold. And that's what Capricorn needs to do, is that it can't always have this stern, harsh energy about it. It has to display a lot more warmth about it, and that warmth can be learned by being around Capricorn energy, being around Cancer energy, or just learning a little bit more about how Cancer expresses sensitivity. Okay, so that is my video for having a Capricorn moon, and I will be doing a lot more coming up. If you guys could please like, subscribe, share my video, I would really appreciate it. But until next time, people, take care. Bye.